Hello and welcome to the Yerky Boys. May the Candrona shine and strengthen you. My name is Will.
My name is Jonathan.
And we are
the Yerky
the
Boys.
Yerky Boys. Oh yeah, I forgot I was supposed to do it too.
What the fuck?
It's fine. Welcome to the show.
That sucked. Oh, Christ. What are we doing this week?
This week we're going to be doing Season 1, Episode 8 of the Animorphs TV show, The Alien.
Wow, this one aired October 27th, 1998.
Still October.
Still October. It's Halloween. This is the Halloween episode.
In this one they change, because on Halloween you have costumes, so it's kind of thematic.
Right, because a morph is sort of a costume.
Right.
In a way.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting. No sharings this week. Not much I don't know how much preamble we have before we get into the meat and potatoes, the cast and crew of this episode.
Oh, yeah, the cast and crew. Eventually, cast and crew won't take very long because we'll have gone through them all, but we still got some this week.
I mean, it already doesn't take very long.
No.
Every once in a while you have a Sean Levy, but we need a cover to discuss for 25 minutes. Here's one thing. Here's what I want to put out there for listeners. First of all, email us if you have thoughts about anything Animorphs related. TV, books, doesn't matter. TheYerkyBoys@gmail.com. Okay? That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, support us over at Patreon. If you like the show, patreon.com/TheYerkyBoys. If you don't like the show, still support us. And we do bonus episodes there every single week. And get this. Did you know this? This is true. It's the holiday season right now. When we're recording this, it's the holiday season.
Yeah. No, I
won't
know
say
that.
Which holiday, because I don't want to offend any snowflakes out there.
Yeah. This could be a Halloween episode.
That's right. It could be the holiday Halloween. It could be a holiday that rhymes with Schlamadan. I don't know. I'm not going to say.
That sounds racist.
Did you know, this is true, on Patreon, you can gift Patreon subscriptions?
I didn't know that.
Imagine receiving under your tree or menorah on holiday morning a little piece of paper. Yeah, a little piece of paper that says, you have a year's worth of subscriptions to the Yerky Boys Patreon.
I don't even think there's a year left on our show.
Well, we don't know. You don't tell people that. You don't tell people that in advance. You get their money and you're out.
Because we don't know for sure.
Just putting that out there, just letting people know that's something you could do. You could make that happen for the loved ones in your life. You could give them this gift.
I'd probably be a little bit upset if someone did that to me.
Or you can give yourself that gift and just sign up for yourself. Sorry that we don't have any emails. I don't have any parody songs. It's just kind of we're just in the downward slump of the show.
The TV show really hasn't inspired you, I guess.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's too the real problem
outside.
is
Sorry.
That's fine. That's just Homer. Brian Renfro is training him right now. We did we didn't start the fire song.
Right.
And once you do that, there's just really nowhere else to go. That's every aspect of Animorphs has been covered. We had a few things, I was going to do a Skater Boy parody. I don't know. I just don't think there's that much meat on that bone. If listeners have suggestions, if you have a request, you have to be a patron. If you want to become a patron and you can come up with a song parody that you want to hear and a theme or maybe a song you want parodied, then I'll do it. How's that sound? Is that exciting?
That sounds exciting. I'd probably have a request, I bet, if I were a patron.
Oh, but you're not, so you don't get a say.
Yeah, no.
Well, But we'll see. Maybe one of these episodes will inspire me. But it's just like, oh, we've done this
Yeah,
already. Also, I don't want to be. I'm not writing parody songs about the show. It's just not. It's not canon. It's not real. This isn't.
right.
This isn't. This isn't how. I'm not writing. I'm not gonna write, for instance, like uh uh hold on. Like I wouldn't
You can
do.
do it.
I wouldn't do, for instance, fuck. Fuck. I wouldn't do, for instance,
You can do
I've
it.
got, hold
You
on,
can
listen to
do
this.
it.
I'm coming, I'm doing it now. Be quiet.
Okay.
I've got to run real quick. I want to get my hands on that Andalite disc.
All right, you brought it back. You saved it. I love it. It's my favorite one you've done so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's really good. Listen, here's the thing. I wouldn't mind if this was a shorter episode because,
You got
uh,
shit to do.
well, no, I just mean like we are gonna start thinking about like we're not sure going forward if we're gonna do the two-parters right now. I mean, I guess it's too late to decide. We're gonna do the two-parters as single episodes. So if we take too long
We
on
are?
these, aren't we?
Are we? Well, what do you
Wasn't
mean
that the
it's too
plan? We were gonna
What do
do
you
the
mean it's
two-parter.
too late to decide? Is next week a
Yes,
two-parter?
next week is a
Oh,
two-parter.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Well, listen, the point is that if we don't go too long this time, then that means, we'll be okay. But if we go too long this time, then
Hmm.
I don't know, we have to figure something out.
We still could decide that. There is still time to change that. We could do both parts as one episode.
It's fine. People are sitting here like, is this an April Fool's episode? You're literally not talking about anything right now.
And I'm going, boy, only 8 minutes in. We're still early, baby. We got the world ahead of us.
Do we want to talk about the writer and
Yeah.
director? Do we? I don't think
Hmm.
we have any new cast, right?
We don't have any new cast, but I wasn't sure if had we really talked that much about the actor who plays Marco's dad.
We brought him up, but I don't know that we talked about him. If you have things to say, now's the
I
time.
didn't I didn't really remember. His name is Frank Pellegrino.
Hmm.
He hasn't acted in anything since 2007. And he
Might be
hasn't been
dead.
in that much. I checked, he's alive.
Okay.
Actually, it's funny because he was in a movie called Alive, and on IMDb it says the first thing it says is known for alive. I'm like, oh, he's alive. He's known for being alive. All right, that checks out. But I think he's pretty good in the show. He's got a great. I think he has a pretty good presence, and he
Hmm.
he feels right for Marco's dad to me, and I actually like feel sorry for him. He just kind of exudes a
Interesting.
depressing aura.
Interesting because I'm like not getting that. I was gonna say we feel like we're back to, but the first episode where I was like he doesn't feel depressed enough. But I think at that point you also did think that. I don't know.
Yeah, I
We'll talk
like
about it
him,
when we get to him, I guess.
but he
I
hasn't
didn't
really
hate
done
him.
anything else of note. So,
Hmm.
but it's I don't know. Of course, he played Mr. Thurston in 2 episodes of Goosebumps. But
Of course, yeah.
yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, there's not much. I don't know. I wish I could say he's done something I know, but he hasn't really. Oh
Yeah.
well.
Well, that's where we are with that. Now we have a new director, uh, Don McCutcheon.
Gesundheit.
He does not have a Wikipedia page, so I don't check the IMDb. Is he even like worth thinking about?
Yeah. He's done some things. He's another. All of these guys just seem like all of these directors are for hire people. It seems like that. Just they
Hmm.
did a few episodes of 50 different TV shows.
Yeah,
They're not someone who broke out later and got a film career or became a showrunner of their own or something. They just are reliable. They'll get the script filmed in time and under budget, that kind of
sure.
person. Uh, he did stuff like there was a new Adams Family show at one point, I guess. I don't even know what that's about. Of
I feel
course,
like
he
there
did
were
a
like
few.
three of those.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was literally called The New Adams Family.
I still feel
uh,
like there were like three of those, but
It could be. He directed both parts of The Ghost Next Door, which we didn't watch, but we read the book of Goosebumps.
Okay. So we almost know who this guy is.
And yeah, he's just done a bunch of like probably mostly Canadian shows that you maybe have never heard of. Maybe you have. It seems like also maybe some Hallmark kind of like Christmas shit as of
Sure.
late. I think is where a lot of these people go to die is the Hallmark channel.
Hey, if you just need, what are you saying? Were you saying earlier the like reliable director? I just get it fucking
Yeah,
filmed on time and under budget. Like
that's
that's
what
where
that
you go.
is. That's what you want.
That's
That's
your
what that's
employer.
for. Yeah. But yeah, nothing really too noteworthy though.
Yeah. Writer, we have a return. Mark Scott Zicree, who also wrote for The Message, which was the first episode where we got to see Axe. Although he co-wrote that with somebody else. So I guess this is the Axe guy, maybe. I don't know.
Sure. Why
We'll
not?
see.
And
I don't know
then
if
but
I
then
have
they're
any
writing with someone
comments on that,
else.
but
Yeah. I mean we talked about him, right? They did
sure,
a
we
bunch of
brought him up.
cartoons, the Smurfs,
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
I mean,
They,
this is part of the problem is that like the books are so much more. I don't know, like there's more of a voice with them. Like, we've
mhm.
brought it up before the way that we're just trying to get all of these episodes as episodes. Um, I definitely know the ghost writers better than the people making this. That this is just like I feel the need to put out the name, but I keep grasping at like, is it different? Is it? I don't know.
Well, and it's also they're following the books for the most part pretty closely. And a lot of the job of writing Animorphs kind of to me seems just like just if being efficient. Just get the plot of the book and just enough characterization to make it palatable and
Hmm.
be done in 25 minutes as opposed to make your
I mean,
voice heard and be
that's like a
interesting.
basic job though. Like that's what you do if you just want to get it fucking done, right? Like
Yeah,
ideally
yeah.
you're trying to keep the interesting parts and throw away the plot if need be. Fuck it. I just want to keep the interesting stuff.
Yeah, but I don't think I don't think it's the writer's choice. I think this is what the producers are telling them to do. Is
I
my
bet
I mean,
there's
I
some
guess that's
overlap.
just speculation, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you are right to some degree, but I bet there's overlap on that.
But you didn't mention Rhonda Jane Olsen.
What did I didn't? What did
Did
she
you?
do? I
She's
don't think I
another
did.
one of the writers
On
on
this
IMDb.
episode?
On
Not a,
IMDb.
oh, interesting. I just used the Wikipedia for that.
Oh, you know what? It might just be she's the story editor, so she might just be credited on like
Mmm.
multiple episodes, but she wasn't one of the credited script writers of this one.
Or maybe the Wikipedia just fucked up. I don't know. This is why we use different sources.
Well, we have that's right. This is why we go to both sources.
Both sources, all of them. There are no other
Uh,
sources.
well, she's very all she worked on was Goosebumps and Animorphs and a show called The Saddle Club.
Let me guess, Canadian.
I would guess that that's true. It looks like girls with horses is
Right.
what
I
that
would have
is.
expected girls with horses, right? Yeah.
Yeah, girls with horses.
Probably what's her name? Bree, the what's Rachel's actress? I bet she was on it too.
Sarah or Jordan.
No, her okay. Listen.
Go on. I'm listening.
So this episode is named after Book 8, The Alien, and it does in fact follow Book 8, The Alien relatively closely.
Whew.
Yay!
Thank God.
Hooray!
Thank God. Because really, they could have used this title for any of these books, any of these
Yeah.
episodes, I mean.
And we know how they we know how they fuck around with that sometimes.
I mean, I think before we even get into it,
Mhm.
last week we speculated, but it really seems apparent to me that this episode was meant to air last week.
So here's the problem. Production code on this is after last week. I agree with you.
I just can't. I don't know how much I trust those production codes. I don't know if that means the same thing we think it
Mhm.
means. It doesn't. Everything It doesn't make sense. This
Yeah,
episode flows from episode
I agree.
6.
I 100% agree, and I was shocked to discover that the production code was after last one's.
I just can't. I don't believe that. I refuse to believe it. Or if it was produced first, it couldn't have been written that way. Like
Mhm.
maybe it was, we have this script ready to go. So like, and we have these actors in these locations. So you just got to do this one now, even though it doesn't make sense. But
Yeah.
because last week's episode was the oatmeal episode, and you can like insert that pretty much wherever you want. At least in season 1, I think.
Yeah.
But this one, like, we after introducing Axe, this is obviously the next episode. It doesn't. It's mind-boggling.
Yes,
But
yes.
whatever.
Like, even in the books, we were saying, why does it take so long to get an Axe book after he is
Yeah.
introduced, right? And there are some things that you miss out on in this, I think, by not piggybacking off of an earlier like ongoing storyline like they do in the book, but it's minor and it could be overcome. It wouldn't be a huge deal. Yeah, like obviously, right, we got Axe. Who is this guy? I need to learn about him. I need to see him eat food and interact with the human family and talk to his family and all the shit he does in book 8. You know, what's his motivation? What's his deal? Like, that's all the thing. That's what you should be doing.
Yeah. That is
Anyway,
that is your job. That is the job you should be doing.
and they
And this
didn't do it
episode
last time.
delivers on it. You know, this here we have it. We get it now.
Yeah. I I will say I feel like this episode, like, delivers just feels like a strong word to me. Per You know, like, it
Go
does
on.
give you that. It gives you exactly that. I will say I personally upfront, this episode was kinda boring to me.
Wow, we are just never on the same page about this show. It seems
Interesting,
like.
interesting.
I think this episode is not perfect. I mean, none of
Mhm,
these episodes are perfect, but even for like the standards of this show, there are things I have issues with that
mhm.
we'll talk about. But compared to last week's episode, I mean, I thought this one had the comedy was delivering. I laughed watching it in like ways that I think were actually intentional to make me laugh. I still think all the Axe stuff is pretty good in this episode. I thought this was like a step way up from last week, at least, if
That
nothing else.
I don't know, that might be true, but there were long stretches of this where I was just like, "Don't care, you're just kind of giving me what the book gave me, but worse, and I'm not really feeling it." I don't know, I just
Well,
didn't.
all of these episodes are what the book gave you, but worse.
Well, no, but this is just, like, very much so.
Mm.
Like, more so than usual. Like, you're saying that, but, like, they do make changes in how the character like, you get bits of on-screen chemistry you wouldn't normally get. You get a lot of, Victor Trent hamming it up, which I felt was underdone here, even though he is there. Like, I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. I was and it could also be that the fatigue is setting in, and I'm just like, "Another one, huh? Another one of these episodes. I
Yeah,
wanna get wowed."
I think part of it for me is simply last this is what I like last week I was
Mhm.
going, where's all this stuff? And this episode was like, here it is. So I was just at a base level like, well, they are doing their job now. Like this is what is should be happening. So I'm feeling better than last week just being like, what the fuck are they even doing? This is all pointless. It's not that fun. Uh,
Fair
Axe is
enough, I guess,
funny.
but
He's fun. I think he's really good in this episode. But I mean, we'll get
yeah,
right to it.
I
It's
do think he's pretty
immediate.
good in this episode. I mean, he doesn't it's not like last episode where he just literally had no presence. That's
Yeah, he
for sure,
wasn't
and that
even.
is
Yeah,
good.
this is an Axe episode, perhaps the Axe episode.
Could be.
We open up in the movie theater. So
Yes.
as always, I have my memories aren't as concrete as yours. So I'm like, this is
Mhm.
I know this scene happened, but like it was in this book and it was the beginning of the book,
Yes.
or okay.
Yes, the book does open in this place. They're at a movie together with Axe and, he's, like, watching it, and he freaks out eating, like, popcorn and brown globules, which I guess are that's off the ground, that kind of thing.
Which he doesn't say in the episode,
Yeah,
brown
no
globules,
globules. Sad.
but But it is there, and this is what you want. This is well.
Mhm,
First of all, before we even get to Axe, though, I just as
mhm.
all teenagers in the '90s, if you remember, loved going to the movies to watch old public domain black and white sci-fi movies.
Yeah, right? Like, what the fuck is this movie theater? So the movie they're watching here, is
Yeah.
Invaders from Mars. Uh,
Now, how'd you
this
figure that out?
IMDb
Is it on
said
the
it,
screen?
which I did
Okay.
check.
Okay.
It probably is on the screen too. Now, see, I do check both sources, just not for all things.
Wow.
Yeah, look at how much perk. This is a movie from 1953. It is 78 minutes long. Now, it is it is apparently about aliens that take over minds, which means we might have to do it on the Patreon.
Oh no, we do. We have to.
I have never heard of this movie.
Oh my god. This can't be
Uh,
good.
Now, I will say the clips they show on screen, like it's the trailer, like for sure. Like
Oh
there's a
yeah.
joke about how they're still watching the trailers, and that is from the book. But then the movie starts for real, and then like I
Yeah.
don't even remember, like, but it's like
It still
we cut
has
to a
the
shot of the
text on
screen.
screen.
Yeah, it's like see the aliens who whatever, and it's like this is not the movie.
And also it's a full theater.
Yeah.
It's packed with people of all ages and genders and race and creed. Everyone has come together from society to enjoy this 50s B movie no one's ever heard of. And they're not like, oh, they're showing old movies this week. They're just
Yeah.
acting like, this is the movie playing. We're
Yeah.
all here to see it.
When they walk out of the theater, there's a movie poster that says "New arrival now available, Piranha People," and it's like clearly a movie from the same era. Like, what is this theater? That's their
I mean,
new arrival.
maybe in Canada they were behind on movies. This is how far they were at this
It could
point.
be.
They're just now getting like Taxi Driver just came out in Vancouver.
Damn, you know what? If this is where
Vancouver?
Canada was in movie history, then I'm gonna say it. Actually, Animorphs is a masterpiece. It's crazy how far they managed to come, how much they managed to reinvent a film language and grammar
You're right.
for their TV show.
You're right. This is the Citizen Kane of Canadian television. No one had ever done repeated slow-mo zooms from
Well, except
different angles.
Goosebumps.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Can you guess what movie this was in the book?
Do they say it? Do they actually
I,
say it in the book?
I do not believe they say the actual movie, but I do know generally what the movie is.
So I'm sure we discussed it then, but was it Independence Day or
It was
something like that?
It was some Star Trek movie.
Oh my
Of
god.
course it was, right?
Fuck off.
Like the Enterprise was in it. I
Oh
know that
right, because doesn't Axe see like and goes like, oh, Klingon females or
much.
something.
Yeah, something like that.
They shouldn't look like that or something. Yeah, right. Anyway, that's fun. But he goes great. Look, he eats the popcorn. Also,
Mhm.
there's a lot of like they're talking so much during this damn movie.
I know.
I'm like, shut the fuck up, you
I
annoying
know.
kids.
Fuck you.
They won't stop talking.
Hmm.
But Axe, this is funny. The way he eats is funny. I like it. Is it? Maybe it's not. He probably could be hamming it up even more. Honestly,
Yeah.
still kind of subdued, but
Yeah, because like we talked last time about how we didn't really get to show off Axe's eating, and this would be a good way to start that off if we had seen this first. Now I did really like this opening section in the movie theater. At this point, I was very on board with the episode. I do think he could be hamming it up more, and I think because we're gonna get more Axe food jokes, he really could have been hamming it up more later. Um, I didn't have as many comments now, but later on I do have a comment that was like, he eats the way that a very neat kid thinks messy kids eat. Right? Like it feels like Paolo is a very like, he would never eat messily, but they're like, eat messy. So he's like, oh, I'll like eat kind of fast, and that's pretty messy. He just doesn't
Yeah.
realize how degenerate you can get shoving stuff in your gob.
Well, it was the late 90s. Society hadn't quite devolved as much.
I could eat way messier than this guy without even trying to ham it up.
He does try to bite the popcorn bag, which
That's
is
good.
that's really good. He starts crawling around on the floor, and I mean, Jake and Marco are terrible babysitters. They don't
Yeah.
even notice that he's gone, which I guess that happens in the book too.
Yeah, no, that I like. I like that they're terrible babysitters. And I like the
They're just
shot of him on the floor too, where it's like super way too close to his face, and there's some guy who's like, "What the fuck?" when he sees him. Like that's all good,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny, and then he gets his eye stalk erection,
right?
which
Yeah,
that
because he
happens in the
sees an
book too.
alien.
I think, right? Does
Um,
that
I
or
think in
no?
the book he just freaks out. Like in the book, I think what gets him is he has like a book of quotes, and one of the quotes is "E.T. phone home."
Wait, what? That's what gets him?
Yeah, in the book he's like, "Shit, that's like me. That reminds me of me." Because like in the movie, he's
Oh,
just like,
because he
"Oh, the
wants the
aliens are
phone
wrong." He
home.
doesn't get,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, they have to leave. But Marco has a funny line where he says, this movie's PG-13. Your kid is really too little for this,"
Yeah,
to the lady who got freaked out by Axe's eye stalks.
yeah. I mean, again, I do love the stupid morphs when it's like, okay, we take a shot of his head. Okay, hold perfectly still because the eye stalk's got to come back in, and we can't be rotating those things.
Yeah, but you know what? It's it is nice that they did. Again, this is like,
Hmm.
the bar is low,
Hmm.
admittedly, but sometimes in this show, all we get is it's a person and then it's an animal,
Hmm.
and so to actually have to at least demonstrate the rules of this universe, that it's still consistent, that it's like, well, sometimes only part of you might morph or whatever.
Hmm.
That's I don't know. I appreciate that, if it whether or not it came from the books directly, I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean
But
that's all. Listen, this bit is all good. I don't have any problems at this point. I think this is all fun. We get an axe voiceover here.
mhm,
No, my name is. We're never getting that ever again. But there is
weird.
a like when he's doing it, he does do some like they're trying to be my friends, but they don't understand or whatever. And so we get this bit where it's like super slow motion on Axe, voiceover in his head, and there's this ominous piano music playing it, and I was just like, goosebumps. This is goosebumps right here.
Yeah, it's a goosey, bumpy ass show. What can you say?
Yeah, very goosey.
It is a little awkward, having him do the voiceover,
Hmm.
because it doesn't feel like, even with this episode, that is the entire episode is clearly very Axe centric.
Hmm.
It doesn't feel like I'm seeing this through Axe's point of view. It
No.
still feels like I'm with the normal humans. So I almost wish they just didn't have the voiceover, or somehow centered it more from his perspective. Because yeah, I don't know, it's awkward, a little bit awkward to me.
Yeah, I do think that there is a pretty big problem with this episode in terms of like, and that plays into it just in terms of like the dynamics surrounding Axe, which I guess we'll get into with this next part because well, what's going to happen is that Jake's like, Axe needs to spend time with our families because he doesn't know human culture, which sure, that's all pretty similar, but they're going to go to Marco's house because Cassie is at some animal thing. I have the exact quote here.
They said
Yes.
that? I don't even remember they
He
mentioned
says
it.
Cassie's got that stay at the animal thing and Rachel's with her. That's that's the line.
I didn't even know they mentioned them once.
So Cassie and Rachel are not in this episode.
Well,
And
neither is
Tobias
Tobias.
is also not in this episode cuz I don't know, he's a bird. And I think that this is a huge problem, right? Because like the emotional core of this book and this episode is that there's this divide between Axe and the group, right? He's an alien and he doesn't share everything with them and he's trying to learn their culture, but there's this wall there because he doesn't trust them or he needs to see Rose kindness they or something like this, however you want to play it. um but there's no group. there's no group, right? It's just Jake and Marco and Axe. So like I'll keep coming back to it every time we hit a major story beat and it's like, "Oh, and now Jake and Marco don't trust him. Oh, and now Jake and Marco understand." It's like, "Okay, Jake and Marco feel that way. What about Cassie and Rachel? What about Tobias?" Like it doesn't feel like Axe has integrated into his found family. It feels like he's made good with Jake and Marco. Um and I think that like that can tie back into kind of what you're saying with it doesn't really feel like it's from Axe's perspective because that should be the idea. You should be in Axe's head kind of versus the group. And here we don't have the group and we don't have in Axe's head. And I think a lot of why it was boring to me was partly because of that. Like I just wasn't feeling any of the story beats just felt like, yep, those are the ones from the book and they didn't really I didn't feel them.
I think it's really starting to click for me now
Mhm.
why why we feel differently about this episode.
Mhm.
Uh, on one hand, I agree with you. I mean,
Mhm.
it's clearly it's wrong that half of the Animorphs aren't in this episode. Like that probably should not ever happen.
Mhm.
Unless you're doing, uh, the fucking I can't even remember the name of the the Forgotten. Is that what the one where she goes to Australia?
The unexpected, I think?
Oh, Unexpected. Forgotten is the jungle one.
Yeah, it's the jungle.
Unexpected is the
Idiot.
outback. Hey, fuck you.
Uh,
Anyway, it's because
yeah.
I forgot it, so I thought maybe it's called the Forgotten. Maybe they called it that because you don't remember what it's called. Anyway, on the other hand,
Mhm.
I actually think, and this is kind of a backhanded compliment, I think
Mhm.
part of the reason this episode to me is successful is because half the Animorphs are gone. And it just so happens that the three Animorphs that aren't in the episode are the three who I think are the least well utilized on the show up to this
Mhm.
point. So it's more focused. Having to juggle 6 characters in 25 minutes and get all this plot in and make it a kids show in half an hour is almost impossible. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons the show suffers week to week. So I I think I understand that choice, and I actually think it helps the episode because it feels more coherent, more consistent. You're with the same group the whole time. Nobody feels ancillary. Nobody feels like, why isn't that person adding to the discussion, or why did they just have one stupid line and then they didn't matter the rest of the episode? Obviously, it comes at a cost. Like
Mhm.
I would prefer that all the Animorphs are in it and they all are good, but they've kind of proven that so far they're not capable of doing that. So this is almost the next best thing. Here's my metaphor I'm gonna
Mhm.
make, which maybe you'll be able to appreciate because I'm gonna compare it to uh, role playing video games.
I don't know if I'll
Okay.
appreciate it, but okay.
Well, you might be able to. You could apply it to Pokemon, maybe.
Okay, I have played that.
Yeah, in role playing video games, right? Most of them, a lot of them,
Uh-huh.
RPGs, they call them in the native tongue.
Oh,
You,
okay.
you have a party of party members, and a lot of times in a lot of these games, you'll have like you can get like 6 or 8 or 10 party members, but you only use 3 or 4 at a time. So you're kind of like swapping them in and out, as you want. And they get the ones that you have at the forefront are the ones getting the experience and all that stuff, while the rest of them are staying back. These systems can change from game to game. You don't need me to get into any beyond that, but I'm
I'm
going
glad you
somewhere with this.
explained all that in detail because there are some people out there like me who don't play video games.
Yeah. This is important for the metaphor. And so sometimes you're playing these RPGs, and I think you fall into a trap where you stick with your guys that you started out with because you already had been leveling them and you're used to their abilities and such. And so you're like, well, I'm going to keep putting my good guys at the forefront, let them get all the experience. And now this is great. I'm having a good time because these are my main guys. But then sometimes what happens is the game will be like, hey, guess what? Your main guys are in jail, and now you got to play with your backup guys. And then you're like, fuck,
Mhm.
my backup guys, I haven't used, they got no experience. I haven't even given them armor or weapons. I'm screwed. And that's the great metaphor I'm making for what I think the show is doing, where it's in the short term, I like what they're doing, and I'm like, they're using their main guys. These are the guys who have the equipment, they have the levels, they know what they're doing, they're making me entertained. But the problem is, they're putting on the back burner Cassie, Rachel, and Tobias, and at some point, I mean, they've already passed this point. They need to make these characters interesting and make me care about them, and they're sacrificing that opportunity by just focusing on what already works instead of shaping up their weaker components. And I think in the long run, that's going to hurt them and be bad. But in this episode, in a vacuum, I
Mhm.
actually think it kind of helps this be a better, more focused episode.
Well, I do have a note that I had stuck into a post-episode discussion section, that I
Wow.
where I effectively said, something to the extent of like, I sure hope that every time we get like, I'm worried, right? Every time we get a Marco and Jake episode, and they're gonna have good chemistry and it's gonna work well, I'm really worried that that's gonna happen, and instead of sitting here and appreciating it and being like, "Yeah, we get some bad Cassie and Rachel episodes and some good Jake and Marco episodes, we got a good one now," I'm instead going to see the good Jake and Marco episode and say, "Boy, what a missed opportunity to use the bad characters well," and I won't be able to appreciate the good stuff. So, like, that is an actual thing that, when I was reflecting on my thoughts on this episode, I was like, the problem is I can't,
Yeah.
appreciate the Jake and Marco stuff right now, and that's kinda too bad.
I think it's also, again, the fact that you remember these books better than me.
Mhm.
And I'm watching this episode and I don't really remember like what were Cassie, Rachel, and Tobias doing during this plot. I don't really remember what they were contributing, so I don't feel much of a loss
Mhm.
other than their general presence. I'm not going like, that's Tobias who was supposed to say that line or something like that.
Well, if I were gonna try to set this episode up, I would probably effectively get three players in it, right? Because and this is not necessarily true to the book. I'd be like, "Okay, you have Axe, and he's the main point of view guy. You have Tobias, because Tobias is supposed to be Axe's Shorm. That's like a whole
Well,
thing, and
sure.
we
I
and we
mean, the
talked
books
but, like
didn't know that yet either.
exactly, but, like, that's the point. That's the point, is
Right.
that there was a little bit of Tobias Axe camaraderie in this book. You should be really amping that up here because, like, this is your chance to make that work in the way that the books didn't. And then there should be, like, the group, right? Like, I don't need to be thinking, what is Rachel doing here? What is Cassie doing here? What is Jake doing here? Because all of them should kind of feel distant, right? That should be the whole point, is that Axe feels distant from the group. And the whole point of the plot is bringing him closer to the group and making him feel like he's a part of the group. And then you can start exploring, okay, here's Rachel and Axe, here's Marco and Axe, and blah blah blah. So that's probably like that's how I would have done it, is I would have all the Animorphs in here, but I wouldn't worry about differentiating them, and that would kind of be okay because, like, who cares? You know what I mean?
Mhm. There
It's
is certainly room, I will say, almost like the first entire half of this episode
mhm,
is like just them goofing around with Axe before the plot is actually introduced.
mhm.
So there certainly was room where you could have probably cut 5 minutes of that, which is a big chunk of the show, and had a B plot at least with Cassie and Rachel and Tobias doing something.
Yeah, I don't even want that though. I just want
You just want them to be there.
yeah, no, I want them to be there and less. I mean, because that's the thing, right? By having a good chemistry between Jake and Marco that you're focusing on, you're feeling connected to them. And the whole point is that you should feel disconnected to them from them because Axe does, and you're feeling Axe's
Mm,
perspective. So it's like kind of okay if they don't work.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think we agree on pretty much all of this. It's just that I'm just like I'm able to
Mhm.
enjoy what it's giving me in the moment, even though I'm also aware that long term I do think it's a mistake.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this early theater, like theater scene, great. This next scene, probably I would like it better if I didn't remember the books because there are some things in the books that I'm just
Heyo.
like, boy, I sure wish this was here. I sure wish this was here. This is fine, but I'm missing a bunch of stuff that I wish was here. And then when we get into the back half and we get into the actual plot, I'm really just like, oh my god, what is this doing? But
Well, let's take one step at a
yeah,
time.
one step at a
One
time.
hoof at a time. First, here's one more complaint I'll make, and I
Okay.
I, I hope maybe it'll be. I don't want to bring this up every episode, but I couldn't help notice it after last week's discussion too. Specifically, when they are walking out on the street here right after the movie theater scene, I'm really now like I feel like I'm hyper aware now that I mentioned it of the sound design of the background noise in some of these scenes
Mhm.
that is just so shitty. It
Yeah.
just for some reason like I don't know if it's part of it's maybe the transfer that we're watching like cuz these are old shitty, it's not this wasn't on Blu-ray or something, but the like you can hear their footsteps sometimes really loud. It's
Mhm.
almost like they're echoing, and you can like the background voices just sound so canned and unnatural. It's really bad.
Yeah, I mean, the background voices have always been really bad. Like, I was thinking that when you said it last time, but I didn't have a good example. But I do think that that is true. Like, that has been they're not good with their background dialogue.
I've sort of just at this point I was just like I can move past it. We've
Mhm.
talked about it. It's not good, but it's like that's just what it is. I won't let it consciously bother me anymore, I don't think going forward.
Yeah.
Next
So,
scene.
okay, next scene. So we skip a scene in the book that I really like, which is Axe goes to school. I kind of wish that we had had Axe goes to
Mm,
school, but it is what it is. Um,
yeah.
Axe goes to Marco's house, and they're gonna meet his dad, and his dad's gonna make them chili. Now, in the book, we had two different scenes. We had one where he goes to Cassie's house, and her dad makes him chili, and one where he goes to Marco's house and learns about the radio telescope and fucks around with his computer. Now, they've combined them here. To be fair, that is too many scenes. They did need to like cut some of them or combine some of them down.
Yeah. Well, Cassie's at that animal thing.
Right. Also, Cassie's at that animal thing.
Maybe that just means her barn. She's at that animal thing she's at sometimes.
We do
Um
also. Oh yeah, what
mhm.
were you gonna say?
I don't know. I have too many things to say.
All
Here's
right.
here's one question outside of the scene because
Yeah,
I don't remember when in the books when is the first time Axe eats a cinnamon bun?
I am trying to remember if
Is
it's
it
it's either.
is it the first thing that happens or is
I
it
feel
later?
like I feel like it is book 5. Like he goes to the mall at the beginning of book 5 and eats a cinnamon bun, but he
It
might have
is a
eaten something
bit.
else.
It seems a bit. It is odd that they have the introduction of him how he eats is not the cinnamon bun. They seem to
Hmm.
have just abandoned that in the show. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
I guess it loses its luster if you can't say Cinnabon.
I'm not even sure if cinnamon bun. I feel like the first thing he had was like Starbucks, and the next thing was like everybody's food off of their plates at the food court, and maybe one of them was a cinnamon bun. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know when it comes up. Anyway, okay, because I just something I wondered. But all right, the scene
Yeah,
itself, the
it
scene.
is funny we don't get any of that. Now we do, so we remind you that Marco's mom is here. So, presumably we're going to see a Marco's mom. I was wondering if we were going to get Marco's mom plot this episode because, in book 5, Axe they wants to steal a ship to go home, and that's how they run into Marco's mom. So I was like, you could have consolidated those if you, and they're sort of Chekhov's Marco's momming us with her picture in the drawer here. But no, they're just reminding us that she exists so that um
Well,
we
yeah,
can relay it to Axe's family, I guess, and so
right.
that when we do introduce her, you'll remember.
Right. I do think
Yeah.
it makes sense in the episode for
Yeah, it's
him
fine.
relating to Axe.
No, I
Yeah.
don't think it's a problem. I was not sure what was coming.
Hmm. Yeah. He loves his mommy.
Yeah.
He keeps her picture in a drawer because that way when he opens the drawer, he looks at her and thinks about her. Because
Right.
if it's on a wall, you just don't look at it. It just becomes part of the scenery. That's nice.
I don't actually know that I buy that, but
I'd
okay,
buy
if
it.
it works for
That's
you.
true. I mean, I have posters framed and stuff hanging in where I live, my home,
But
and
none of them are your dead mom.
no, well, okay, sure, but I mean, not yet, uh, but I get it. It's like after a while, you're like, I don't look at that. Like, oh yeah, that's there. Whatever. That's just part of the wall. I could see that. I get that. I think and I don't
Yeah, but
know.
if
I think
it's in
that's
a
nice.
drawer, you're just also not like, I
Well,
guess you
I'm
see it
not
when you
opening
open it, but
drawers,
yeah, exactly.
but Marco is. He's always going and digging around in drawers.
Oh yeah, I
It's funny.
forgot that part of his
His dad
personality.
is like, Marco, why do you keep putting your mom's photo in this drawer? What the fuck?
Yeah, he's
Dad, I
trying to
like
keep it
to
out on the
look at
desk
her.
and
It's like, Marco, I don't give a shit. That's my fucking dead wife. Put that up. The fuck? I also think there's a funny, well, it was funny only to me.
mm,
When Axe tries to eat a piece of fake fruit
hmm
and Marco says, no wax fruit. And it kind of sounds like he says, no axe fruit. And I thought that was funny.
yeah, I think that was only funny to you. I did like that scene too. I thought that was good.
Again, good. Okay. Then Marco's dad joins the fray.
Okay, then Marco's dad joins the
Is
fray.
there
He
a
shows up.
tomato in this drawer, or is that another fake fruit? Okay, never mind. I'm not going to focus on that.
I kind of want to know about this fake. Yet they're sure. Oh, I think that's the fake fruit Axe tried to eat, and Marco put it
Oh,
down.
I see. Yeah,
Is
he's
I think what
hiding it from
happened.
him. Okay.
Yes, so Marco's dad is here. So you, I guess, get sad sack vibes off of him.
Yeah, I like him. He seems appropriately. I mean, he's not like, he's not crawling around on the floor crying or
Yeah, I mean,
something.
like for me, because I felt like for me, he's very in between the two. Like he should be a little bit more subdued than he was last time we saw him when he was just on the couch, like, But like, I don't know. Here he just seems like fine. Like if you didn't tell me this guy was undergoing some kind of trauma, I'd be like, that's just Marco's dad. You know,
Yeah, I
like
wouldn't
he's in the
say.
kitchen cooking, which like the
Mhm.
we already established he's Marco is doing the cooking and shit and taking care of household chores because he's not really taking care of it because he's too depressed to take care of himself and his kid. But he's fine here, and we. You know what? Later on, we're gonna see him get on his computer and do stuff for work because he's still working because he didn't lose his job for being depressed. Which in the book, that was okay because he already had his arc where he's like, I gotta pull myself together and get back to work because Marco had the arc where he saw his mom, and those two arcs have to coincide. But like in the book, he hasn't, or in the show, he hasn't had any of that yet. He's just, I don't know. He felt better to me here. I didn't see anything that made him seem upset.
Well, there's not time to establish any of that shit on this show. Like you have to focus on the kids, you have to focus on the plots. I don't begrudge them for just being like he has a job. It's a shortcut that makes sense, and you don't have to do all this extra work that the kids watching this show don't fucking care to watch. As you are often the one to say that this is about the kids, not the adults, because it's
That's
a kids
true.
book.
That is
Um,
true. I mean, that being said, though, they did try to establish, like, they established right off the bat that Marco is doing the cooking. And in this one, he even lampshades, hey, I'm going to try cooking for once. And they tried to establish that he's all depressed about it last time we saw him. It's not like they're not doing it. Like, if they were just like, we're not going to do Marco's dad is depressed, okay? We're just not going to do it. He's just going to be a guy. It's fine. Don't worry about it. That would be one thing. I'd be a little
I
unhappy,
think
but I'd get over it.
I think you and I are looking for two different levels of depressed. To me, he just has general. I don't feel like, oh, he's traumatized or anything like that. But to me, he just has sort of a, divorced dad energy.
But he's
He's
not
just.
divorced. His wife fucking died at sea.
Yes, I know. But to me, divorced dad energy is enough. Is good enough
Mm.
for this scene and this moment and the role this character needs to fulfill. He's just kind of like. He is a sad sack. He's not a my life is over and there's a gun in my mouth sack. he's just kind of a loser. Like, to me, that's
See,
enough.
no, see, maybe it's because I'm a sad
Your
sack loser
definition
because
of what a loser is much.
I I'm watching it and I'm just like, he just seems like a normal guy. So maybe that's my issue, is that I'm already a sad sack
yes.
loser. Oh yeah, that's just normal. Everyone's like that.
No, you're much sadder than him. So you're like, that guy's got his life together. He's doing great.
Right. Exactly.
He had a wife? Holy shit.
Yeah. God damn.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I do think that's what it is that I'm just not. I don't necessarily need him to be. I feel like he's giving off just enough kind of energy of, like, he's doing fine. He's getting by, but I wouldn't say he's thriving, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't see any of the, like, not thriving bits, and again, it's inconsistent with what they've shown him doing earlier. Like, just pick
Remember,
one and do it.
This is also
Whatever.
still the late 90s. If you're a dad, a single dad, you're automatically a loser. Like, there's no, like, that's all you need to tell the audience is single dad, and they're like, oh, this guy is
a loser.
pathetic. His life sucks. I mean, that really does just say it all.
I guess it does. I guess that's just what it is.
I just think the actor has a nice, maybe I just find him likable too. I just think he has like a pleasant vibe and face, and his line deliveries are, maybe I just appreciate an adult who has more of an acting background than these fucking teenagers.
I mean, I do think that he's likable. Like, in that, like, that I agree with 100%. He seems like a likable guy. He seems, totally nice. I don't know.
There you go. That's nice. Then he gets to meet Max, their autistic friend.
Axe. I like that. I like that we keep with the trend of everybody's fake name is like their real name.
Did they do that in the book? Did they say his name is Max?
In the book at school they call him Jake's cousin Philip. And then
well, you think Max is sitting right there. You'd think they would have gotten
yeah,
that.
right. And at Marco's house, his dad sees him first, and Axe does the thing where he says his name is No because he was told to reply no to everything.
I thought it was funny. There's a funny part in the episode when he's trying to come up with a fake name, and he looks around the room and he sees a hatchet on the wall, and he's like, Axe. And then he sees he sees Sim City on his dad's computer, and he's like, Axe a sim. And then there's like a rap CD where the guy's like, I'm Illy.
Jesus.
It's the 90s. They said stuff like that. So he's like, Axe Sim Illy. No.
Oh my god. I'm Illy.
Yeah, they were always saying that in the 90s. Vanilla Ice said that.
My god.
You didn't say that? I was saying that all the time. I bet Marco's dad would say it.
Max does work, though, because, if they accidentally fuck up, if they're like, hey, Axe, get over here, and they think his name's Philip, they're going to be like, who's Axe? But if they think his name's Max, it's just like, oh, I probably just misheard.
Right. Axe is his
better
nickname.
Choice.
It's short for Max.
It's short for Max.
Yeah, it's like how I call you Ill.
Right, exactly. That is what you call me.
And sometimes I'm like, and today you're being kind of illy.
Yeah, I don't like it when you say that.
Yeah.
Do you think they didn't make him Jake's cousin because they didn't like all the weird Rachel incest stuff?
No, I think they like that. Why wouldn't they? Yeah, I don't know. It's just either way seems like, honestly, saying he's Jake's cousin introduces so many more questions. It is a smarter play to just be like, it's our friend.
Yeah, he's fucking weird. Yes, and it does make a lot more sense when they're just like, he watches too much Star Trek. He's a fucking loser. He's weird.
Yeah, he's a nerd. Like, I said he's autistic, which we talked about in the books, but it does.
I mean, he is coded that way. I do like his like weird handshake. I think that's a good detail that he doesn't put his arm in the right spot for a handshake. Like, that's a good acting choice for sure.
What do you think about the Prince Jake stuff? Of course, comes up in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
In the books, I always felt more like Jake was genuinely annoyed about being called Prince Jake. And in this episode, it feels like every time it comes up, he kind of smiles and is like, oh, Axe, cut it out, you. But he like kind of secretly likes it. I don't know. I feel like
Yeah,
he
I
maybe
don't.
wants to fuck Axe.
Well, I mean, who doesn't? But
Yeah.
well, listen, we
Yeah.
already got this Jake and Marco chemistry, and we went out of our way to exclude the girls and the bird from this group here. Like, we're working towards something, I think.
They are all close together in this scene with their arms around each other, smiling and
Hmm.
laughing. I see,
Hmm.
there's some chemistry, man. There's some
Mm.
sexual energy between these three. Maybe Marco's dad too.
Well, let's not.
Oh, right, right,
Let's
right, right,
get
right, right, right.
yeah. I don't
In
want to write any problematic fan fiction here.
right, right. No, 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 no. Well, Marco would be 18, I think.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, because these are older versions of the kids.
All these actors are 18. I mean, right?
Probably.
Paolo is definitely like 20. I'm gonna.
Yes, that's true.
Looks much older. Okay, we can't. We shouldn't be talking about this. This is really bad.
Yeah,
Usually
it's
save
bad.
this for off air.
They do not want to hear the things we talk about off air.
um. Okay. The
So
chili.
this, yeah, the chili. His dad cooks chili. Axe eats it. Um. Now, I don't know. I don't. Now, in the book, when Walter Cassie's dad does this chili, they really sell the fact that this chili is really fucking hot and nobody would want to eat it, you know. And so because Cassie's mom is also there, she gets to be like, "Oh man, he always puts too many peppers in that. Nobody, you don't have to eat it." And so when Axe is like, "I fucking love it." Then Walter spends the rest of the time like, "See, somebody here has good taste." Now, I don't know that they capture that vibe here. They do. Marcus' dad has a lot of lines about how it's too hot, but without somebody else to play off of, it almost comes across like maybe the implication is that it's just bad chili, but Axe likes it anyway.
Perhaps. I mean, this is an incredibly specific nitpick.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, this also goes hand in hand with like he does this weird ass face when he tastes it, which I do love. But I feel like if you're going for the hotness factor, he should do like a little blush and maybe a grasp at the throat, you know?
Steam should be coming out of his ears, and his
Yeah, give me some
head should
steam.
launch off like a rocket.
Hell yes. Well, this is kind of though like I feel like the chili scene does lose something without having Cassie's mom there. Like it doesn't. This is what I was saying where I'm like this scene is good, but it's missing like some of the life that it had in the book came from like the different setting, and by consolidating it I lose a little bit of that. It's still good. It's just not, it's hurting to me because I remember the book better.
Well, I wrote a note during the scene that says, "This rules, LOL."
Well, I'm
I
glad.
was laughing. I thought his performance was good. He's eating a whole bowl of chili and licking it clean. They're all staring at him. I
Now,
was having fun.
this was the part where I was like, he eats like a messy kid, or like a neat kid thinks a messy kid eats, especially the napkin wipe at the end. Watch how he wipes his mouth with that napkin. Like it's very dainty. Like you can tell this guy would never eat a meal without a napkin in his life. The Paolo wouldn't.
This is
He
all.
doesn't know.
You are biased this whole episode because you're a gigantic slob loser. You're like,
That's
they're not
correct.
accured
That's
as you're
right.
watching this
How am
covered
I
with
supposed
potato
to,
chips and crumbs
as a
and
gigantic
unbathed.
Listen, it's like you hear some person talk about something and they're supposed to be an expert, right, in a show, and you're like that all sounds pretty good, but then they talk about something that you know about and you're like, well,
Yeah.
everything they're saying is wrong and now I'm annoyed. It's that. Like how am I supposed to feel that these people are messy or gigantic losers when I know what it's like to be a huge gigantic messy slob loser fuck and it's not that.
This is the equivalent of me seeing someone trying to hold a video game controller wrong on a show,
Or
and I
do
get
some board
pissed.
game shit or whatever.
Yeah, well, they don't even do that. D&D, I don't know. Yeah, I mean I guess that's what it is. I guess that's what it is.
Listen, I did still like this. I do think for me the most of my issues with this were just that I remembered the book parts too vividly, and I was like, it's not as good as the book.
Yeah, yeah, and I am not as annoying as you, so I didn't have that. I did notice also in this scene in particular. Marco's shirt is tucked in. Jake's shirt is untucked.
Yes, I noticed the Marco tuck. I also think Jake's shirt looks lame as fuck.
Well, again, so for listeners, it's like an orange polo shirt with
Yeah,
white stripes.
I like the
That was
orange.
that was kind of a cool shirt in the polo shirts were cool in the 90s. He looked like an Abercrombie and Fitch kid. He was like a California beach boy in Canada.
Marco's shirt is cool. I don't even mind the
Marco's
tuck,
always
but
cool. I'm just wondering if what that says about their characters, like it feels like Marco should be untucked, if anything.
right. Maybe it
See
made
now,
Jake look too prissy to have the Abercrombie shirt
mm,
and the tuck. Like he looked like a
yeah,
nerd.
and we should clarify all clothing for these characters was provided by Gap.
Oh, right. Yes, of course. We wouldn't want to forget to say that.
It is not Abercrombie. I don't want to give them credit. Gap is where I used to when I was a kid. That's where I got a lot of my clothes. Was
Wow.
Gap Kids.
I don't know if I ever got Gap clothes. I must have at some point because it's just like one
Well,
of them.
you
But
fished whatever you wore out of a dumpster.
right. Exactly.
A loincloth as you swung through the trees.
Half the clothes I wear I owned 20 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, in some cases that's true for me too. It's just not exclusive
Yeah.
like you.
Well, for me it is like half. For you it's probably some, like a couple.
Yeah. Certainly 10 years. I'm wearing a shirt right now. Who the fuck? Why are we talking about this? This doesn't matter. Oh, right. We still have an hour. Let's talk about We're Back again. Remember Brain Grain? All right. So they find this computer program here.
Yes. Yeah, his dad's on the computer. He's doing a radio telescope thing. Another part that we miss in the book that makes me sad is that Axe doesn't accidentally set human technology forward 100 years here because he thinks it's a game that you're supposed to correct the mathematical errors. That would have taken like 30 seconds to do, but they
Yeah.
didn't do it. It made me sad, but he does see Marco's dad on the computer and realizes there's a radio telescope.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been a nice little thing they could have done. What? How about we get to see this computer screen? There's some
Yeah.
equations. I don't know if they even count as equations on it. There's like a line
Yeah.
graph of some kind. There's some binary code, maybe.
Yeah, I don't.
What is it? It's all. I mean, obviously, I expect it to be nonsense, but
Yeah, so there's a bunch of binary. Actually, when you say binary, what you mean is a bunch of zeros followed by 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Like, it's
Oh,
not
you're
even,
right.
like, mixed around. They
You're
don't even
right.
try to make it look like a real number. Then it says 10-degree viewing angle. And then we have y sub 10 equals y to the 100th over x10, and k sub y equals y to the 100th over x10.
Okay, sure. So y10 must equal ky. No, yeah.
I mean, it sure
By the
does
transitive
seem...
property.
Well, yeah. Well, in this case, I mean, presumably they've
Like my
set
math?
the telescope such that, like, they've lined it up such that y sub 10 equals k sub y, right? Like, whatever they're trying to get their values aligned. They've got their y sub 10 and their k sub y, and they're trying to point it such that they're at the same point here.
When does the jelly come into play?
I get it. That's pretty
Yeah.
funny. Then there's
Yeah.
a lot of fucking gibberish and a lot of numbers.
What do you mean 99 MHs, dot, and then it, I guess, the command prompt or something becomes, is that an M or 2 carats? I don't know. Number sign, at sign, 40kj dot 1100 to plus 1420. That all makes sense to me.
Then there's a long string of numbers. I'm going to tell you here, there's a later scene where we see Marco's dad type, and this long string of numbers here, that's what gets added to. So what Marco's dad is typing right now in this scene, he's just typing out numbers.
What the fuck's he doing?
Would you like to read this bottom line? Because holy shit, this bottom line.
I don't know if I would like to read it.
All right, that's fine. It's got a cosecant in it and the word nose. Oh
That's
no, when
cool.
he
It looks like my Wi-Fi password. Oh
Oh my
god.
god. Yeah,
It's
this it's sure something.
it's something. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's fine. He's an engineer.
Yeah,
Even
I
though he
mean,
can't work a VCR, he can do this. Maybe this is why he can't work a VCR.
kids in
Because
the
this.
90s were not pausing this to see if that made any sense, I'll tell you that.
No, no, that's true. That's true. I
Oh,
do wonder, like, who was in charge of making that. Someone's job was make a screen
right.
with some shit on it, and like, what were they? Did they even try? Did they have some concept of what this meant, or it was just I don't know, fucking numbers?
Yeah, do some shit, whatever, who cares? Now we learn about Dr. Hamley, who I think is an original show character, who is the guy who Marco's dad
Wow,
is helping set up the telescope.
sounds like a K.A. Applegate name to me.
Yeah, that does sound like he came from the book. Maybe he is in the book and I forgot.
Could be. It's possible. Um. Okay, we don't get to meet him or anything, but you
Hmm?
know. We don't get to meet Dr. Hamley.
No, no. Yeah, no, we just hear him mentioned. Uh well, whatever. Axe leaves because he finds out about this telescope. So he leaves without saying anything. He leaves without ice cream, which is suspicious.
You know what every
Um
California household has, by the way, is a big coat rack right by the door with heavy jackets hanging on it.
I couldn't help but
That's a
notice at the
staple of
end.
them all. Yeah.
That's true. I couldn't help but notice at the end of this, there's a bunch of Canadian geese, which I don't feel like they
Yeah.
have in California.
I I have a note about some classic California geese. I'm sure there maybe are some geese out there. I don't really know actually, but certainly it's not something you would, think to include in the landscape by default.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's got some Canada imprints on it for sure.
I thought it was a good line when he's like, "Oh, we should tell." I don't even remember. Does Jake say we should? What should we tell him about Axe or something? And Marco says, "What's to tell? I mean, the guy's blue. He's from outer space." Just like, as far as Marco's concerned, there's nothing interesting about Axe. He's blue. He's from outer space. What else is there? Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I mean that's basically it, right? If you had to summarize them, what would you say?
But he wouldn't be like, gee, what the fuck is the Andalite? We have, like, there's not been a scene, and maybe there wasn't in the book either at this point, or I don't remember, where they sit down with Axe and go like, so, what the fuck is an Andalite? What is your planet like? What are your customs? What do you do? How does this work? Hey, what's the disc? We'll get to the disc later.
We will get to the disc later.
But, it's just a little bit, I don't know, it's just
Yeah.
funny.
Well,
He's
I
just
mean,
so.
to segue that, here, this is where they first say, like, well, Axe never really tells us anything. Um, Now, in the books, that had been earlier established because they're piggybacking off of what they did in the
Piggy?
book before,
Oh, sorry. I
right?
was
Like,
thinking about Speaker for the Dead. Go ahead.
not everyone listens to our Patreon, and they should, though,
That's
if
to
you want to
confuse.
catch
If I
everything.
want to punish them, if they don't listen, then they get fucked by listening to references they don't get.
Because in book 7, they blow up the the
Ness,
Earth-based Candroma,
the Super Nintendo
Candrona.
game. Oh,
And so they're like, oh, a bunch of Yerks are probably gonna, like, controllers will start getting freed as the Yerks starve, but then they find out here the Yerks are getting killed, and they're like, Axe, why did you know and didn't tell us? And Axe is like, yeah, I don't tell you shit, and so they're kind of mad at him about it. So like there's already a pre-established idea of like, why doesn't Axe trust us enough to tell us anything? And here it just kind of pops up just in time for them to chase after him and do this last thing, so you don't have that established idea. I think that that is fine. Like, that's a reasonable sacrifice to make in exchange for not having to have an episode in between the message and this one. But they did do that anyway. You know,
I don't mind that, and in fact, it even I think in some ways, whether or not they executed it effectively is another thing. But saving that for the end almost makes it more of a I don't know if twist is the right word, a
mm,
reveal that he's hiding stuff from you. I think the impact of it works just as well that way. I don't
okay.
miss that.
Yeah, because
Um,
if I were gonna do the whole thing where it's like there's acts and there's a group and there's a distance, part of that distance would be in the sense of like I'm just not gonna tell them something that I know. You know what I mean?
well,
But
also
I
we don't
get
have
what
his
you're saying.
POV. We don't have his voiceover either, so that obviously hurts a lot of, knowing whether or not he's hiding things from them.
hmm
I
Well,
don't
he could
know.
just yeah, whatever. It's fine. It like I do think that this is totally like I think that for me it feels like a loss, but a very minor one based on the gain of not having to establish that. So
Mhm. And then Marco's dad brings over a wooden tray with 3 individual glass bowls of vanilla ice cream for the boys.
and you think this guy is a sad sack loser who doesn't have his life together?
Well,
He's got
you know
glass
what?
bowls on a wooden tray?
I mean, that is funny, but well, first of all, they're gone though. That's sad. He put all this
That is
effort
kind
in.
of sad, yeah.
I think maybe this is why I also am thinking divorced dad energy is it kind of maybe it feels like he's overcompensating.
Ah,
Like
he's
maybe I
trying
think
too
he's
hard.
yeah, he's trying too hard to be the nice dad and like the funny fun. He's making the chili. He's like, "Come on, guys," but I think he's hurting deep down inside and not
So
showing us.
so the problem is that it worked on me. He's like, "Come on, please like
That's
me." And I'm
right.
like, "Okay, I like you."
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you're not as familiar. Your kind of sadness is like an odor that people can sense from miles around and it repels them. This is the kind of sadness that you can actually mask.
Listen, and this is the right well, fine, that's the right level for Marco's dad to be at after he goes through his arc to get over Ava. Or not necessarily over, but to start moving on. But like we haven't had that in the show yet. That's all I'm saying.
Do you think that's real ice cream? Because in a lot of
Uh-huh.
this is a fun little
Oh,
trivia note.
oh, interesting. I hope you tell me something new that I haven't heard before.
I bet you've never heard this before.
Ooh, okay, yeah, talk to me about it.
A lot of times on
Uh-huh.
film sets, if there's ice cream in a scene,
Mhm.
you know what it actually is?
What is it? It's ice cream, right?
Cum.
They would of course use
Oh,
real ice cream.
sorry. What did I say? It's mashed potatoes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I bet that's what it was.
And then maybe the like drizzle on top is gravy.
Yeah, or cum.
I want some mashies and gravy.
Thanksgiving's over. Please relax.
Yeah, but
Now here's the
and
thing. Here's the
cum
thing
too.
about this
Yeah.
episode. Like, just don't be disgusting. This is a PG rated show. Here's the thing about this episode that another criticism I'll make of it.
Okay.
We're at the 11-minute mark now. We're including like if you take
You
out the
mean
open
1 hour and 11 minutes?
of the show,
Oh,
not
okay.
our show, the episode. The fuck I'm criticizing Animorphs, not us. Okay. If you cut out the credits and the intro, we're basically right halfway of the episode. And the
Mhm.
plot has just been introduced.
Mhm.
And I do think they could have somehow I don't know that we needed 10 full minutes of essentially I enjoyed it. It was fun and funny. But really the first half of this episode is just goofing around with Axe. I mean, that's
Mhm.
all it amounts to, other than the last 30 seconds of, hey, a computer, let's go have a plot. That they could have cut some of that or weaved the plot in a little better throughout that. It feels kind of lopsided in that way.
So, given that they're putting episodes in between, is it maybe better? Because I do feel like you need some goofing around with acts. Like, that's
You
part of what you're
do.
tuning in for. And, like, you could weave the plot into that, but it's also possible you could put goofing around with acts in, like, the last episode or something like that, right? Like, instead of moving straight from the
Hmm.
message to the episode that's like, what's up with Axe, you can be like, yeah, Axe, he's here and he's going crazy. Wow, he's so much fun. And then slowly build up what's going on with Axe. And then, after one or two episodes, then you can say, like, here's your Axe episode.
Yeah.
Or is
Yeah,
that
I don't
just
know.
kind of too
I
similar to what they're doing in the books that
I
you didn't
mean,
like?
no, I don't know. Maybe it's fine, maybe it's not. I'll also walk myself back too, and because I've criticized the show for the opposite, for like
Mhm.
doing too much plot, and the books too, for not giving enough time of just hanging out scenes
Mhm.
and character scenes. So it's just hard when I just think unless you're really talented at writing and directing,
Yeah.
it's just hard to fit all that in naturally to a show this length.
Yeah, I mean, like, ideally for something like this, though, this idea of Axe wants to talk to Home, and there's this mistrust should be like one of the first things that's
Yes.
hit in the first scene, and then we go goof off with him, but that's still kind of there in the background, and then halfway through we actually do it.
So
Um,
I guess maybe they just almost did that with him in the movie theater with his eyes coming out, but they
yeah,
just
that's
play it
true.
like a gag. They don't really
Yeah.
they don't really explain why that maybe happened.
Yeah, that would be a better follow-up to already knowing that, and that the part of the problem there is that in the book, the movie theater was the opening scene, so we'll do this as the opening scene instead of thinking like, "Well,
Mhm.
maybe that doesn't establish what I want this to be about, and I don't have time."
But there's really there's like 3 scenes in this episode. If you really break it down, it's like movie theater, Marco's house, and then the radio base. Like,
Mhm,
and it's not very, which again, maybe that's part of why I liked this episode more, is it didn't
mhm,
feel like oh, we're here, now we're in the arcade, now we're doing this, and we're just trying to get from plot to plot to plot. Maybe it feels more relaxed to me, but also at the same time, it is kind of like, is that good? It is. It's also kind of awkward that 25 minutes and there's only like 3 locations. I don't
mhm.
really know. I don't know what the right answer is. It sort of feels like, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. I don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is besides making it an hour long, which
Yeah, but
they didn't do. Shut
yeah,
the fuck up.
I will say, like, the longer this episode goes on, the less I like it. So,
Our show, you
like, I
mean?
liked the movie theater. I thought the scene was fine. It had some good parts, and then from here on, I'm starting to be like, "Oh boy." So,
Well, let's get into it.
yeah. So, all right, they go. They Axe leaves. They're chasing after him. There's. It's really funny because they do this like
Oh my
really
god.
intense action music, right? Like, Axe he's still kinda sneaking around because he's going to the radio telescope, and he's not even in there yet, he's just, like, sneaking around outside this empty building, and they're playing this, like, "Doom, doom, doo, 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 doo," type music, and it's like, what do you think this is? Like, nobody's Marco and Jake are walking there, but nobody's, like, chasing him. Like, what's
That's
the
we have this footage. It's dull. We
Yeah.
really need to liven this up. I do like that one of the most I feel like the most common recurring shot on this series is one or more kids peeking their head around a corner like it's Scooby Doo, all their heads on top of each other. Huh, what's around there? What's over that corner?
Yeah.
It's cute.
We get these footprints because Axe, I guess, morphs to get into the building.
Footprints, Jake. Oh yeah, right. We get to see hoof.
There's like human shoe prints into hooves, into hands, into like little, or I guess into like small mouse things that are getting smaller. There's like one set of each, which shows you just how fast he morphs. They look
That's
really
right.
shitty too. I'm not gonna lie, they look really bad. They
I
do
like them.
not.
I think it's fun. I think they're cute.
They look like he's hopping. They're not like staggered the way, you know what I mean? Like they're all right next to each other.
It looks like what it would be if you were at the Animorphs theme park
I
and
think they
like
would do a better job. I think they would offset them in a way that makes it look
I
like
don't
I've
know. To
seen
me,
theme
it's
park footprints and they
charming.
look good.
I
These look
think these
shitty.
are nice. I like them.
I mean, I think it's funny. I enjoy it, but it looks shitty.
Here's what else I like.
Yeah.
This lizard morph we got now.
Yeah, I like this too.
Jake and Marco, they go lizard again because, as we've established, that's one of their main morphs.
Yeah. Well, Jake never got a mouse or anything like that for some reason.
And we really get to they actually show us a lot of the morph here, and it's funny looking. I mean, not I shouldn't say a lot, but
Yeah.
you get to see some facial morphing, and I think it's kind of good. It's
Yeah, I mean,
fine.
it's funny because, like, you're giving them props for doing what they were doing in episode 1, which they stopped doing because it was too much work.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, like
It's
maybe
just a face-on shot, and then they more listen, I do like when Marco's eyes bug out, and I like when Jake's mouth stretches. That all is fun.
Yeah. He
It
looks like
feels
the
like there's more
Joker.
effort than yeah.
He looks like Jack Nicholson's Joker, but with a green mouth.
Now, these lizards, the actual lizards themselves, once they turn into lizards and crawl into the vent, they kind of look fake to me. Do you think these are real lizards? Are they just like brightly colored and it looks
I
odd?
I think they're real lizards. I don't. What do you think they're doing? Like reverse photography or something? Stop motion
No,
animation? Like,
it just looks kind of weird, but it's only on screen for like, a half
I
second,
think
so
they do like a slow motion thing on it, so it just looks kind of
mm,
odd. Because probably in real time, the lizard just went like zoop zoop in two
that
seconds.
that could be part of the problem, yeah. Uh so yeah, they go in um and whatever,
There they are.
Axe phone home, right? Axe
Axe is
gets on the
in a
telescope.
room. He's calling his parents. I mean,
There's a lot of fucking letters and numbers again.
the most significant thing in this scene to me is I
Mm.
think this is the clearest shot we've seen yet of a full Andalite body.
Where exactly here?
Like as soon as they sneak in, you see there's I think they show it a couple times. You see when I say clearest, you know, it's still not like that clear, but you can see his horse body, his tail, like a full Andalite body and not just the torso or something.
Hmm.
Are you trying to find this?
I,
It's
I am trying to find it here,
if you go
yeah.
to like
But
12 and a half minutes, they're like peeking around a window, or 12:40 might be more accurate.
mhm.
And you see it like through the window from behind Axe. You can see his full body with the tail blade all up behind him. Like to me, it looks pretty good. I think it looks like it's all in shadow, so it's not they're hiding
Yeah.
some of the flaws. But in terms of like the scale of an Andalite and how big they should be and what like the size of their tail and all that, it looks pretty accurate to me. I think it's. I'm just again. I'm
Okay.
maybe it's a low bar, but I'm like excited that I get to see a whole Andalite. To me, that's cool.
I mean, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Yeah, I think I was a little dark and fast, and I was like, sure, there's Axe, but you're right. They do actually kind of put a body in there.
It's his
Um,
full body.
Now he gets on the phone. In the book here, he would talk to High Command and then maybe exchange like one sentence with his father. But here he talks to his dad. So Axe
He
gets
sure
on the phone with
does.
his dad, who is not named here, but his name is Norlin Serenial Koraf. So this is Norlin.
Yeah, he's from the
Uh,
bayou.
Now, I'm just going to say right off the bat, Norlin's voice is shitty. I don't like it. His voice. I want to know who fucking voiced Norlin. I wanted to see that on IMDb so that I could fucking trash talk him. I was hoping you were going to tell me who Norlin was, but
Mm, I like him.
I think he
I
sucks. He's like, hello? Hello. He's so
he's a
bad.
he's like a wizard guy in a 90s VHS board game. He's like, "Welcome, traveler."
He mispronounces Axe's name at one point. He calls him.
Well, does he
He,
though? Or is
there's a
that how
point.
they
No, no,
say
no.
it?
No, no, no. I'm not talking about the part where they're both pronouncing it eximile. There's a bit where he
Okay.
says axilimi.
Well, that's his nickname. It's his little pet name for his son. He called my little
Yeah,
Axelimi.
no. Axe is like Elfangor's dead, and he's like, my Elfangor? Axilimi. You are the eldest brother now. I hate him so much. He fucking sucks. He's bad. I don't like this voice
Man,
actor. What
this
can I tell you?
vitriol. I like him, and I also like that he's hairy as hell.
He is so fucking. He has a beard. Like when I first saw him, I was like, "Boy, they really need to cut this guy's ear hair. He's got so much fucking ear hair." And I didn't. I was so distracted by how hairy his ears were. I didn't even realize he has a full beard, reaches down all the way to his chest. It's
I
it's
I know
crazy.
I've criticized the Andalites for being too hairy, but I like this guy's white hair, tufts of hair that clearly look. They have one. They have two Andalite bodies. And one of this is just the Visser 3 head, and they were like, well, we got to do something to make him look different. Put some
Yeah,
hair on him.
yeah.
I think it's funny. He looks like
Axe's face
Gandalf.
goes fucking crazy here too. You mentioned before how his face like twitches because
Mm.
they need it. His face is just like wild.
And again, there is I think you're underselling it. There are numerous shots from behind him, or even when you're in front of him, when you can still see Axe's tail in the air behind him, which they were not doing early on. It was just obviously a torso, just a guy in a costume with two legs. So I think that that's kind of good. I'm still giving him credit for that tail being around. Like that's a step in
They
the
did,
right direction to
they
me.
did put a tail here. They did put a tail. That's true.
Yeah, like, that's pretty good. I like that tail. Okay, so then we get a little dose of Victor Trent.
Yeah, little Victor Trent. He's eating some shrimp. Thank God. Thank God for Eugene Lipinski. I would have had a fit if I didn't get my little Victor Trent treat in this
He's
episode.
sitting in a leopard print chair.
Check the doors again, by the way.
Oh yeah, same doors. And
Mhm.
I guess I guess maybe Visser 3 enjoys human food or something, because, why else would he be lounging around in human form?
He's an
I know I
enlightened morph, he's not gonna go crazy like Axe, but gotta have his
Right,
shrimp.
right. You're right. He's still. That's funny because I don't think they ever talk about that in the book. Yeah, because Visser 3 doesn't even know like what a potato is or whatever the fuck
Yeah, or
in
something.
Visser when he fucks up the lunch order.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't know shit.
So that's interesting that you would think he would like being an Andalite bot or even just a Yerk body. Like they should all be kind of interested in tastes and flavor, but I guess he's just not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what? You know what the scene could use?
Uh-huh.
Visser 3 he needs a cat in his lap. He needs
Oh
to be
yeah.
evilly stroking a cat.
Oh yeah.
That would
He
really
does.
make this.
He needs to be evilly stroking for sure.
I'm evilly stroking over here when I see Victor Trent on screen.
I get it. I know what you're talking about. I don't really know that I understand the line he says. So it's a very funny cut because Axe's dad is like, "Who killed Elfangor?" Cut to Victor Trent eating a big shrimp right in his mouth, and then this guy comes in and he's just like, "Sir, we have we've received a radio thing. Someone's contacting the Andalite homeworld," and Victor Trent says, "This is a call I want to get." I don't really know. It's such a weird way to phrase that. Like he's trying to say, I want to hear about this if the call comes through or if you trace the call. But he says, this is a call I want to get.
He has a couple of weird lines this episode. Like there's a bit later where a door is they're like it's locked and he says that depends on who you ask. And it's like I guess is that supposed to be a one-liner? Like, what the fuck is that? Like they really I don't know. Well, who is the writer on this guy again? Zikri or something? He really wants Visser 3 to have some one-liners, but he doesn't know how to write them, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to be. It's a philosophical thing. He's like, oh, what one door that is locked to some may be open to others.
The sound of one door locking.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, we get to, then we get like some real plot shit that is the kind of shit that I don't know. I could see them just omitting from the show.
Mm-hmm.
But we hear about Ciro's kindness.
Mm-hmm.
They don't explain it yet, but he kind of gives his dad the scoop, no pun intended. I like the eye stalks in this scene too. You were talking about facial animations. I think the eye stalks do some good moving around in a minute here. I wonder where these costumes are now. I wonder if these still exist or if they were just burned. Oh my god. That would be so cool.
Go to the Animorphs museum.
Oh man, I thought you were just gonna say like the warehouse sale of all the extra shit they had left over. Yeah, but he like sneaks up from behind a desk and his eye stalks are poking all around in the air. I wonder how they did that. I wonder if they were just on a string or if there was actually, surely there was not a mechanism where the actor could move them.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way that costume is that high tech. I don't
But
believe
they had to figure something out. I wonder how they did that.
Yeah, I
Anyway.
don't know. So like I don't know. This is a little bit weird here. Like we do learn, okay, other planets more vital. Axe also takes the blame um for Elfangor's giving like, giving the morphing tech.
Mhm.
And I don't know I don't know that they really sell it here. Like, because, in the books, it's like some big, important high command guy, and Axe is like, Elfangor did this. And the guy's like, are you sure Elfangor did it? And Axe is like, Yeah. And he's like, are
Right.
you positive? Because you could take that back. It doesn't have to be Elfangor. There's another Andalite. Whereas here, Axe is just like, it was me. I did it. And, obviously he's trying to take the heat off Elfangor, but I don't know if I really get you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I really get that he's doing that. It's kind of off.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to cut I think it's fine for it to be
Mhm.
Axe's idea, but you are right that if you don't know the book or the characters, you might not really get why he's doing that.
Yeah.
It's not clear that he's like making a sacrifice or something.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. And this whole section actually, I think the sound editing is so fucking bad because Axe and his dad are constantly talking over each other. Like Axe's lines and his dad's lines are just clipping over the edges of each other in a way that's very obviously not how they're recorded. And it's like, you don't have to sync this with anything, right? Like their mouths aren't moving. It's just a guy standing in front of a screen and some screens. You don't even have to show the screen. Like, how did this end up this way? I'm actually kind of surprised you weren't a little bit upset at the way this is cut too. They're just kind of wobbling around the screens, and I don't know.
Yeah,
Like this whole thing
I
felt chaotic and didn't flow to me at all.
you're not wrong. I get that. I guess I was just distracted by his hairy face and his tail. I was just excited to see a tail.
I mean, I'll give you
You-
that. Like when I unpaused it to try to see what I was talking about, and I'm like, "Yep, there's his face. There's his fucking beard."
it's interesting that there's just different things that bother us at different times because we're just
Mhm.
focused in different places. But yeah, and it's also like just what particular thing leaps out at me for being egregious versus just being how the whole show kind of is. I'm
Right.
just when do I become numb to it and it's like not worth mentioning. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Um.
it's all
So
crazy.
yeah, because I had a lot of issues with like the cuts around this part. So because like okay, Visser 3 shows up and the signal's cut and Axe does his demorph. And Jake and Marco, who have been watching, like they get into a conversation with Axe. They're like, "We saw you," and blah blah blah, and why won't you tell us? Meanwhile, Visser 3's outside the door shooting it down with Dracon beams. Now, this is another area I don't really like how these two things are like put together here because they're cutting back and forth between them. And it's really odd because when Visser 3 is cutting through the door, they put this big exciting music over it. And then they cut back to Jake and Marco and Axe talking, and there's just no music. And it's very jarring because it feels like the reason you cut back and forth between these is to add tension to the scene. Like Visser 3 is going to come in at any moment.
Mm.
But like the fact that the music just disappears and it's jarring gets rid of that tension. And the conversation already has tension, right? Like the Jake and Marco are like, "What, you think we're cavemen? What, you don't trust us?" And Axe is like, You know what? I can't trust you. I can't trust anybody with what the Andalites know." And he's got this whole thing like there is tension there, and cutting it in with the Visser 3 tension, I don't know, it's like steps all over itself to me.
Mm. Yeah, sure.
I don't know.
No,
I do.
you're right. I
Yeah.
think you're right.
I do think I was thinking about this last time because I was like, you hated the editing last time, and I was like, I feel like I usually notice that stuff more. I feel like I tend to be bothered more by uh editing issues that have
Mm,
to do with the feel of the scene and less to do with like the
mm,
continuity or information presented. And a lot of what was wrong last time
mm.
was that it was not getting across the information. And here it's like it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, that could be true. That could be true. Sometimes also things like this, truly, I'm more in my own head, like thinking about what am I going to say on the podcast about the content of this scene versus I'm not as wrapped up in the cinematography, which sometimes I am, but
Mhm.
I think there was just at this point, like, so much stuff is happening so quickly compared to the first half of the episode that I'm more
Mm.
engaged with the plot than I am with the outside stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but I get it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the part where Visser 3 does his first little smirk, which is my favorite part of the episode, is his little smirk.
Wow.
Gives a little smirk. I love you, Victor Trent. A little smirk. He just smirks
uh,
at the camera.
yes, he
Uh,
does. As we're seeing the Dracon beams in their slow laser mode.
yeah. Yeah, these fucking Dracon beams. It's also a very odd thing because when he does his stupid line read where he's like, that depends on who you ask, he does this turn like maybe he's gonna gesture somebody forth, and then they cut to the conversation. When we cut back, actually, no, he was getting everybody to come forward and shoot it with Dracon beams. And I was like, I thought maybe he was going to turn into a monster and cut it down, or like based on his body language, maybe somebody else. It was very odd. It felt weird. The fucking
Yeah.
flashlights pointed at the door looks so dumb. Though I kind of like that part.
And they pan across them too and show each one flipping up its little crosshairs because it's now in laser mode.
Yeah. The shitty laser beam pointing at the door. Oh my god, it's great. And
I
they
do
when the
love
door
them.
explodes, it's like a triple they show the door exploding 3 times. Boom, boom, boom. It's good.
No, what this should have, like, the actually good way to do this is you have them say, like, the door is locked, and then there shouldn't even be a line. Visser 3 should just be in Andalite Morph and just, like, push, like, just destroy the door himself and then
Mhm.
walk through, and then you see all the controllers behind him like, oh shit, Fisher 3 is a
Mhm.
badass. Like, and that could be, depending on how you film that and block that could be funny, it could be
Yeah.
like cool, it could be badass, it can be all these things, and
Yeah.
instead they just do this dumb
And you know
whatever.
what? The scene you're describing, I think it needs a one-liner. It just doesn't want the one that they wrote.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it could have just been, I don't know, it could have been a
He
lot of
doesn't
things.
even
We don't.
I think he should say something for a beat. Even if it's not a
Sure.
one-liner, he could say like incompetence or something, you know? I,
Sure,
j- I
sure.
just want to give Eugene Lipinski more opportunities to chew the scenery.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs those. He's in need of those for sure.
Uh,
You were when you were imitating him just a minute ago, you kind of
mhm.
sounded like Dr. Evil.
Mm.
I feel like that's an unconscious. I think maybe that would be good if Visser 3 was just played exactly like Dr. Evil.
Yeah, listen, that's that's
Maybe
not
that's some
wrong. I
of
don't disagree.
Eugene Lipinski's inspiration. Maybe he was going for a Dr. Evil. I mean, this would be the height of Austin Powers right here.
Maybe I just have that Dr. Evil charisma
Yeah, you do
naturally.
have that. You
Yeah,
do.
me. That's why I sounded
Yes.
like it.
Yeah. All right, so there's a big deal
Yeah,
here coming
there
up.
is a big deal right here.
I think you should explain it.
All right, so there's a part when Axe is all like, "How can I trust you humans? You humans couldn't even be trusted with Elfangor's Hirak disc." So
That's right.
we
He
know
says
what the
that.
disc is. It's the Hirak disc.
It's okay. So, and also I didn't even, it wasn't until today, like a few days after I watched this. Oh wait, no, one day after I watched this. I forget how time works. When because I didn't like rewind. I just know they called it like the something disc, but I was like, what the fuck did they call it? I was like, it's some kind of a disc. And then it was looking over my notes before the show today. I was like, oh fuck, he said the Hirok.
Yeah,
Now I see what that
yeah.
is.
And he doesn't call it the Hirak Delest. It's the
He
Hirak
doesn't,
disc.
but it's Elfangor's
Yeah.
Hirok disc. So we must assume at this point that the disc
Yeah.
is the Andalite Chronicles.
That is the assumption, and I think you said that. One of us definitely said that as a guess.
Yeah. I'm sure. I mean, we had several, but yeah, that was definitely a possibility that we floated at some point. But
Mhm.
as far as I remember, looking over the episodes, I don't think we I don't know. Maybe they work that into a plot somewhere. Maybe they literally just read this disc and give us a summary. But we're not getting an Andalite Chronicles episode of this
Yeah,
show.
no way. No way.
But
So I
like,
guess it'll reveal Tobias's parentage or something, right?
but maybe because remember the show got canceled. Like maybe that was. It's early on. They were like, "Well, we want to have this in the show. How do we justify it? Let's make it a part of the show from the beginning. The story is on this disc, and that's how they learn it. Is they actually like watch a video of or something like a Magic
Yeah.
Andalite video.
So you don't think that they get this disc at the season 1 conclusion because they didn't get to do enough an Andalite Chronicles?
I have no idea. I guess not, unless they go the opposite. I'm just wrong, and it's just they get it, and it's like, yeah, we read about how Elfangor did this crazy shit. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it seems like you set that up because you want to do that episode at some point. I don't know.
It does seem like that, unless they get the disc and it's not that, and we find out that they just stole Hirok from the books without keeping the meaning the way they did with the escape, and I get really mad.
Well, maybe they get the disc and then they're like, but in order to use it, we need to find Elfangor's Delest disc and combine them.
That's season 2, and then we got canceled.
And now it's like Jackie Chan adventures. Every season's a different disc they have to collect.
Oh man, until they actually get the budget to make Andalite Chronicles, then they're done.
That's right. 100 deeds, 100 discs for Axie McDowd. What do you think about that?
I like it.
All right. So anyway, I mean, look, that's a big deal. That's a revelation. That's the
Yeah.
revelation.
This is huge. This is huge.
And they just throw it away like it's nothing, by the way.
Yeah.
Like that, if you even if you are following this show, like if you're watching this week to week when it aired, you might not remember that disc. They haven't brought it up for like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
He throws it away and no one even blinks
And
that he says the name.
You know what? I vaguely recall there being a disc around when I was a kid, and I definitely saw this episode when I was a kid because I have memories of a thing upcoming that I've referenced earlier on the podcast. I didn't have any idea what this disc was, so there's a good chance that as a kid who was a huge Animorphs head and would have known the term Hirak Delest, I didn't catch it because they throw it out so fast.
Yeah, I didn't catch it the first time. It just went in one ear and out the other. He's just like, Elfangor's Hirak disc. And like, you're like, huh?
Yeah.
It's just gone. It's over. No, that's it. Very strange. I don't know what the fuck what were they trying to do? Was that a mistake? Did they think this was a fun mystery? Did they just not care? What was going on?
Well, part of the problem also is that they're constantly cutting back and forth between Visser 3 storming the telescope and this conversation, so you don't have time for that line to sit, you know? Like, he says it, and then all of a sudden it's like, dun, 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 and Visser 3's walking up the stairs again.
Yeah, he sure is.
He shouts something, too, Visser 3 does, that I could not. I played it several times. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you caught it, or if you just have no idea.
I think, doesn't he yell traitor? Is that what it is?
Does he? Because that wouldn't make any sense, but that could be it. I'll believe you.
They're all running down the stairs. Visser 3 is like standing on the floor. He yells out, hold on, I'm listening. Listeners, stand by. Okay, I don't know what the fuck he says. I don't think it's traitor.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that mystery is solved.
It sounds like Prita. It's definitely 2 syllables. I don't know. Bring him? Maybe he's saying bring him.
That could be. Sure, I'll buy that.
I don't know.
Anyway, so I do think they're gonna run away, and Axe, he's like, oh shit, I have to revenge my brother, so I'm gonna go fight Visser 3. Now, I will say this is a good writing decision to it does deprive us of the Yerk traitor, which is too bad, but it also means that we don't have to have another scene where Axe goes and turns into a snake and tries to assassinate Visser 3 secretly. And we can just do this now and get it over with. A good choice.
We get a face-to-face combat between Axe and Visser 3.
There's people there's controllers with Dracon beams just like lining the rafters, and oh my god, it is so unintimidating to just have all of these shadowed figures pointing flashlights at you.
I think it's cool.
This is actually okay. So you said something about background noises before, and this is another part where the sound design started to annoy me because when
Mm.
Axe walks around, they make these like horse clopping noises.
Yeah.
And they had done that before, but from this point on, they're just constant. Like Axe turns back into an Andalite, Visser 3 turns into an Andalite, and it's just constant clop, 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 clop. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Put your fucking coconuts down.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's
No
how you know
clopping.
he's a horse.
Right.
They're all about clapping on this show. Oh, and then they get to the worst fight scene I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, okay. I kind of listen when they first do their face off, and they have to show Axe all in shadow because otherwise he wouldn't look intimidating, and they have
Still
to show
kinda
Visser
cool.
3 in shadow because he wouldn't look intimidating if you could actually see the details. Visser 3 holds up his big hairy arms and goes like grrr with them.
Yeah,
and
he
then
holds his arms out almost as if like he's in pain or anguish, like he's shouting no. Like it doesn't make sense. This gesture.
no, it does actually. Like if
Okay.
if you put me in a gorilla suit and said, be intimidating, like go grrr at that guy, I would go grrr like that. And you have to
Okay.
imagine Visser 3, whoever's in that costume, is wearing a big hairy suit. And they're like, do something scary with your arms.
Sure. Sure. But-
yes, as you said, the worst fight scene so far in this show,
No,
quite
I
possibly
know
ever.
I've ever seen in my life.
Listen,
They run-
I don't want to like never say never. I'm sure there are worse ones
you know
somewhere.
what?
There must
I think
be.
it's better
It's
than
bad.
it's better than Alien versus Predator Requiem. I think I'll go on record as saying that.
Okay.
Okay.
It
If
is
anyone's
so
seen
bad,
that movie, they
though.
know. Yes, they just run at each other and they basically just grapple with each other. They both like grab each other's hands and start kind of like pushing against each other and like rotating and shaking, and the camera is constantly just zipping around them and showing them grappling.
It's super blurred out. It's it's like the thing where it's like, oh, you cut a million times on a fight scene so you don't know that the actors can't fight. And here they did that and they were like, boy, you sure can still tell they're not fighting. What if the camera also zipped around a lot? Oh man, that still looks bad. Let's add this like after image blur effect over everything. Perfect. Now you can't see anything happening at all. So it
Neither
looks
of
kind of
them-
like they're fighting.
At no point does either of them throw a punch.
They
They
put
don't like
fucking punching, hitting sounds in there, but they do not sync up to them doing anything.
they don't go for like they don't try to grab in at each other's throats. How hard would it be? Actually, one of the easiest things to do. How they sort of do an extremely half-assed attempt at it for like 2 seconds here. But their tail blades, you just show a close-up of them hitting each other and do some like sword fight sounds, and that would go a long way. And they don't. There's like one shot where they're sort of. You can see their tails a little, but it's
so
not really.
fucking shitty. It's unbelievably bad. And
It's very funny.
on an earlier episode, I said that I recalled at some point as a kid getting mad at some fight scene because Andalites like fought with their arms or something. And I'm looking at this now and I'm just like, listen, that's not really the problem with this fight scene, but I don't really blame kid self for watching this and getting super pissed off, like so pissed off that one of the only memories I have of this show is hating this scene. I don't blame myself for that. It's appropriate.
It is very funny how bad it is. I mean, honestly, I'm not mad at it. I'm just like, yeah, this is stupid, but I don't know, it's just silly. It's just whatever.
It is really bad. I mean, I'm not mad at it anymore, but oh my god, it's mad.
I
Maybe I'm
like-
biased toward this episode because of that. Maybe it unlocked
Against
like
it.
ancient emotions. Or yeah, against it. Yeah.
Yeah. I do think though, in general, the setup of Victor Trent standing there and saying nobody shoot him, he's mine, and all
Mhm.
the, I mean, yes, it's dumb, but the flashlights are dumb, but just the concept of everyone standing like it's a gladiatorial arena and the
Mhm.
two of them coming at each other, that is cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
it's
listen.
immediately undermined by how stupid it is, but it is
Yeah.
starts cool.
Yeah. I mean, listen. Victor Trent delivering his mine line and then giving another little smirk, a second little smirk, which I love. And then there's like a thunderclap in the background. That is great. That is what I want. But
I do
the rest of it,
wonder, would Visser 3, I think maybe they could have had a line about why he's staying as an Andalite as opposed to turning into a big monster. But I think he might do that as like, oh, this is I'm going to
mhm.
prove that I can take you out as one of your own or something.
Yeah, like because in the books there was at one point some kind of plot where after like the first engagement or second engagement with Axe, he started like turning into monsters or running away, and there was almost this idea that like maybe he's actually kind of a coward. Like he thinks of himself as this big powerful warrior, but once he actually sees Axe fight, he's like, man, I just want to be a big monster. I don't want an even fight. He might win.
Yeah, right.
Which is kind of fun, but like you need your first fight to do that. So
Yeah.
um
So something else you lose from this adaptation that I don't know if it would be hard to do within
mhm,
outside of a book is the idea that they don't want to thought speak Visser 3 because it's like obvious they're humans and not Andalites.
mhm.
But of course, Axe's thought speak voice, I mean, yeah, I guess he sounds kind of weird, but like Victor Trent just sounds like Victor Trent. So it's not like
Yeah.
they don't really have any difference of their voice or any of that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
How would you do that anyway, I guess?
I personally don't have a problem with that anyway. Like I think it works totally fine to just have them talk to him sometimes.
I mean, God
It's not a big
knows
deal.
I've complained enough times in the books about how it doesn't really make sense that they're
Yeah.
like, do you do an impression of someone in a thought speech or whatever? Like it
Right.
doesn't,
Yeah.
what the fuck? What does that mean? Doesn't matter. We can't get into
Yeah.
that.
So Jake and Marco come to Axe's rescue because he's gonna lose this fight, I guess.
I
And
think it's just because they're bored. They're like, this fight sucks. We got to
right.
end this.
Right. And oh my god, this also looks so shitty. Like fucking this tiger is the most like obviously green screened in, and and again, it's like the tiger jumps up on a green screen, cut to Visser 3 Andalite falling over, cut back to the tiger on a green screen walking away. They green screened the tiger into not even be in the same shot as him. Like what the fuck is this? It's so bad. And is this everything we're going to do with the big cat? Big cat jumps, Visser 3 falls down. Yay, fight's over, we won.
That's what they do. That's all they can do. They cannot use their claws. They
No,
just push. They just push you.
it's so bad. Like you couldn't like put a piece of meat and have the tiger attack it and then like frame it so you can't quite see what it's attacking and then like green screen
No,
that on
no.
there.
Too violent. Too violent.
You're right, you're right.
Now they also, this is I think the first time we see Marco is there as a
Yeah.
wolf.
Yes, Marco's in his battle morph, which as we all know is a wolf, I guess. In this
Which
show he's a wolf.
they have never
Yeah.
ever mentioned that he got this
No,
or what the deal is.
I guess he's
There's
a
all
wolf.
And there's in this exact same seconds, there's a scene of all these people, I guess they're controllers running away from
Yeah.
Marco. And it just looks like a scene from an FMV video game cutscene. It's so again, the green screen is so funny
Yeah.
and bad.
Yeah, well, like they're both the wolf is green screened in on this wherever the location is,
I think
and
the
then they green
people are
screen.
too.
Yeah, no, and then they
Yeah.
green screen the people in over the wolf.
Yeah.
It's really bad. It does
It's
not look good.
It's hilarious. And Jake has a line where he's like, "Thanks for backing me up." Backing you up by just like standing there? Like he
Yeah,
just is a wolf and he doesn't do anything.
yeah.
He's
Jake
just
doesn't do
also
anything either. He jumps once, and fucking Visser 3 falls over,
Yeah,
and
why
that's
isn't
it.
Axe like, now let me finish the job and like cut Visser 3's throat? He just leaves.
Yeah.
He's like, I guess it's time to go.
Why doesn't Visser 3 stand back up and attack? Like they just
We pushed him
he
down.
fell
That's
over.
the end of this fight. It's G.I. Joe, you
Hooray!
know. We'll see you next episode. We're out of here. That's it.
God.
Look, all this stuff is dumb, but it didn't. I don't know. I guess I'm just. It's the kind of Saturday morning cartoon dumb that I feel like is appropriate at this point. Maybe.
I mean,
It,
I don't mind that it's dumb. It's just it's so badly executed. It looks so much like shit. It just goes past
well,
it
I
goes
do
past
think.
me like legitimately enjoying some cheese and into the realm of like, oh man, I want to go back and rewatch Eugene Lipinski and Bailey's Billions again. Let me
Okay,
get some
shut the fuck up.
quality shit.
Shut the fuck up
Give me the
about that.
Easter Bunny puppy. That's what I want.
No,
It's
shut
like
the
that
fuck up.
level.
I'm gonna say this. I think the fight scene is pretty much indefensible. I do think for 1998 or 99, whatever, the green screen actually was not bad. Like I think that looks perfectly acceptable for the late 90s TV. Like
I
that's
don't think
fine.
it does. I mean, I don't watch a lot
I
of late
think it
90s
does.
TV, but that does not look good.
I don't think it looks that bad. Like I think it's like obviously fake, but I'm not like appalled by it. Again, for the time and the budget they were working with, I'm like, it's fine. That's fine. It's a tiger. He's
I
there.
I think Xena looked better than that green screen.
But Xena didn't. Did Xena even use green screens? I don't think
I don't
they.
know that it did, but it looked
I'm sure
better.
sometime.
They had like that giant.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
guess. I guess. I think it's two different things though. But
That's probably fair. But it,
I
it it didn't look good. I'm
I
sorry,
don't
it did
know.
not look good to me.
I think it hasn't aged well. I think at the time this was fine. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
But
listeners, watch this episode and then write us some emails and tell us who's right.
I mean, yeah, whatever. Then we get this. There's episode's basically over.
Yeah, he does. Axe tells him about Ciro's kindness, and they're all
Mhm.
like, "It's cool, Axe. We don't blame all Andalites," and blah blah blah. And again, I said this before, but this is really the time to come back to it. This would work really well for me if there was a group here, right? Like he this would. Why is Axe? You know what I mean? Like he's like, "Oh, the humans don't trust me and I can't trust the humans. Oh, but I guess this is my found family cuz they came to rescue me even though they didn't have to and blah 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 and I'm going to start breaking the law to But you know who he's doing that with? Jake and Marco. The rest of them who cares? They
Yeah,
don't matter. They're not
yeah,
part of Axe's group. They
that's
don't
right.
connect with him at all.
Who
Who
gives
gives
a
a shit
shit?
about them? It
Yeah,
doesn't work for me.
all the same things you just said, but unironically. I don't. We don't. Who fucking care? Cut out the fat, baby. Jake,
But I
Marco, Axe. I don't need the rest of them.
But I
Fuck them.
do
This
care
works
about the
better.
rest of them. Just because the ones in the show suck doesn't mean I don't care about these
Listen,
characters.
I'm not reading the books right now. I'm watching the show, and on the show, these are the people I like. They're giving me what I like.
Uh,
They understand what works about their own show, and this is the team that works. They could have done what they did in the first Axe episode, and just had everyone else show up just for the end.
yeah, I mean, honestly, that would have been better. Like, that would have been better than not doing it at all, I think. Like, they
Yeah, I
should,
mean,
like, at least, like, bookend it, beginning and
we
end. But, like,
yeah.
even just, like, he's got a whole revelation about how Earth is he's got a whole voiceover about how this is his home now. And half of the group isn't even here with him.
They'll fill them in later at the barn, in between episodes. They'll tell them. They'll be fine.
Uh,
Listen, we went over this. We don't need to rehash it because we kind of did it at the top. And by the
mhm.
top I mean 45 minutes in. But yeah, you are correct. But I still think I think you are correct from the viewpoint of what would be better for the series as a whole and coming from its source material especially, and you're absolutely 100% right. But just this episode of this show and the way things are going, I think that it works well, and I do enjoy these characters more than the other portrayals of the other characters. So I'm like, I'm right in the middle. I'm like, yeah, it's bad, but they're also playing to their strengths, I think.
Maybe
And,
if they
and
used the other characters to do interesting stories like this, they would be more interesting
yeah, yes,
characters.
I agree. I agree. But it's again, it's the RPG problem. It's why I gave that perfect metaphor earlier. There, it's like you're in your kitchen and you're like, I want to make a 7-layer dip, but I only have 3 good layers, and the other
This
4.
metaphor better be as good as the last one.
It is, and the other 4 layers are like a little expired. I could go out and buy new layers. I could get fresh ingredients, or I could just say, you know what? It's a 3-layer dip. It's just a 3-layer dip now. And yeah, would it be better if it was a 7-layer dip? Sure. But you know what? These 3 layers are good. So I'm just going to work with what I've got. It's the 3 good layers.
Listen, maybe if they started the show with 3 layers, that would be one thing. But, if you were promised a 7-layer dip, you wouldn't be sitting there like, oh, fuck, there's only 3 layers in this? Fuck you.
Look,
I wanted 7. 4 more layers.
Sometimes a show emerges and you don't know what it's going to be. Urkel wasn't the star of Family Matters until seasons in, you know? Sometimes you have to figure out what your show is and you go like, oh, you know what? On our show, Rachel sucks. So let's just lose her. That's fine. Now here's the thing. I assume I don't assume. It's a guarantee. All these characters coming back, and it's not like, I don't know. Maybe it is an assumption that I don't think this is actually going to be the Jake and Marco show, but maybe it is. Maybe everyone else is just going to be a background character. And maybe that's just what we need to, you just need to embrace that about this show. I don't know.
Well, if they do that enough episodes in a row, I might get over it. But
you might get Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. Now, we are going to do a 2-parter next week, and that is a good opportunity for them to actually use the whole cast. So we'll see if they do that, right? Because now you actually have time to, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. We already had a 2-parter to start the show with. That was technically a 3-parter. So it's not like it's the first time we've seen that, but
right. But this is another, like all of these episodes, they're cutting half the cast, and we did kind of use the whole cast a little bit in those first ones, so we get a chance to do it again. This is the chance to see, right? Like if they actually do that. If they show us only a set of 3 or something next episode, I'm gonna be like, I guess that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, we are almost halfway through season 1. Not quite. That's not true because there's 2-parters. So we're more like, maybe we're a third of the way through season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd think by this point the show might be fairly solidified. But the problem is, it kind of is. But again, the problem with Animorphs is like we just introduced Axe, so it's still, there's a lot of stuff that can be introduced that keeps the status quo from being the status quo. I don't know. We're gonna see where it goes. For me, honestly, I think this is my second favorite episode so far.
Damn.
I think we both agree On the Run is the best episode.
That's probably right, yeah.
The one that had nothing to do with the books.
Yeah.
It's either number 2 or number 3. It's definitely one of the stronger episodes we've seen. And again, I think you have to take it at face value to arrive there. You can't, if you're looking, and you know what, it's fair to not even be looking at the books. Even in context of the show, you're right. Where are these other characters? It's bizarre that they're not around. But in cutting out that fat, I can't deny that for me, it resulted in what felt like a leaner, more entertaining episode. So I don't, it's like they took a shortcut that's bad. It's like another metaphor. It's like McDonald's. I'm like they used shitty ingredients, but it tasted good. So I guess it's not like filling or healthy, but like they got there for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
And all the stuff in the back half that I agree is silly, it didn't really bother me as much. It sounds like you just really did not like it.
Yeah, I mean, I just wasn't, I don't know. Like I said, I really liked the opening, and then I wasn't really, at a certain point, I was just like, I guess I'm watching this.
Yeah.
Like
which
I
felt that
more hateful on the
too.
podcast, but it did feel, it was, I don't know. Like I said, it felt kind of boring watching it. I was like, I just don't
I mean, I think that by the time we finish this show, we're both going to kind of be in the same place. I mean, maybe we
That's
even
true.
are now. It's just that the parts we like and the parts we don't like just kind of come in waves at different times.
Yeah.
But like the overall impression of the show is still like, yeah, it's not very good. It's just like, what mood are you in and how
Yeah.
willing are you to forgive certain things that when you watch the certain episode is really what it is.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to go back and revisit some of my old opinions and be like, why did I have such a problem with that? Or why did I like that? What the fuck? That sucks.
Right. So next week's gonna be a 4-hour episode.
Yeah. Listen, we'll cut it. We'll
Well, we did the
Yeah, it'll
first
be
2
4 hours,
episodes
fucking
as
Christ.
one show. So that wasn't too long. So we'll be fine. And that was when we first discussed the whole show. So
Yeah.
it
It'll
should
be okay.
fine.
We'll be okay.
But listeners, let us know what you think. How does the green screen look? Who would you like to see do what to whom in the porn version of this show with Marco, Jake, his dad, Marco's dad, I mean, and
No doubt.
and human acts, and will they maybe have Marco's mom's picture on the wall, like watching as
maybe
they
we
all
should-
have an orgy together?
This part should stop.
I think it's okay because none of them are women.
It's just
Let us know, listeners. You can email us, theyerkyboys@gmail.com, and listen to our Patreon, patreon.com/theyerkyboys. This week, we're going to be watching The Invasion.
book 1?
No. No.
Oh,
This is a film.
film.
From 2000. It's another Body Snatchers adaptation from 2007. If you want to hear our thoughts on that, you better tune in. Follow me online on Blue Sky @Quentz. I'm skeeting up a storm over on Blue Sky.
Damn, not me.
You'll get there. And I guess that's it for now. For me.
Thanks everyone for listening. Tune in next time when we'll be talking about season 1, episodes 9 and 10, The Capture, parts 1 and 2, in which I think Jake turns into a fly on the Yerky Boys.